So in this hour that we're going to be covering, we're going to be going over things like the Swift system. I'm going to talk to you guys about multiple inboxes. So if you have several accounts, I'm going to talk about some things that you can do to get through your emails with the Swift system faster, so you can check your emails, schedule checking your emails and get through them, how to put those emails away through archiving so that you're not seeing them in the inbox. You won't have that email anxiety, but they'll still be there because you won't be deleting it. So that's all. Those are all things that we're going to be covering here as well, because it's really just about being focused on those particular things so that you can really go through your email the way that you want to go through the email without having so many challenges when you're doing it. So. All right. So just real quickly, so you guys know who I am. I'm Coach Dunbar. Of course, I've been coaching for years. My TBD coaching company is not as old as my experience in coaching, but we do everything from chronotype assessments, print, smart goal coaching, business coaching, course creation coaching, business automation coaching, AI coaching, and then we create content with AI. We show people how to do that as well, so they can cut down on the amount of time it takes them to move in whatever space that they're actually moving in. We've done over 200 live trainings, over 600 virtual trainings. I mean, we've been helping people for years when it comes to moving their business, expanding it, the profit first method, understanding whether you're an entrepreneur, a manager, or a technician. If you follow anything with E-Myth and Michael Gerber, it's all about really using your mindset to change your business and then using automation too. So one of our keys is always, whenever there's something that needs to be done in that company, either you're doing it yourself, right? Or you're automating it or you're delegating it. And that's what we're doing here as well. So when you see Business Automation Mastery, that's just really a sub brand of my TBD coaching, which is where we talk about automating things that in reference to your business. So the Gmail workflow and declaring email bankruptcy technique is the focus here. And I call it DEBT, which is that declaring email bankruptcy technique, simply because we want to get you down to inbox zero. Now, in the world I live in, inbox zero is never actually zero, because I don't really need my inbox to be zero, but some people do. It's really about controlling that inbox. So once you feel like you have control of your email, the anxiety goes away. You're more excited about going there. And I can always tell when I'm talking to somebody about that inbox situation, because if I'm saying, hey, you want me to send you this link via email or via text, it could be something that they're going to be doing on their computer, right? They know they're going to use their computer to do it. So it's probably more convenient for me to send it to them via email. They don't want to check their email, so they'll literally opt for text and then figure out a way to put it on their computer through text, because they simply don't want to check their email. So if that's been you at one time or another, put a 1 in the chat so I know that I'm talking to the right audience here when it comes to that. So sometimes it's really just, hey, I really don't want to have to look at my emails for any reason whatsoever. And if you don't want to look at your emails, you don't want that to be a scenario. You want to take back control of your email. So we'll be covering topics including Gmail inbox zero, Gmail workflow to create automation in your day-to-day life and in your business. And the Gmail workflow training will allow you to correct automation settings in your Gmail account, filter and organize incoming emails. And why we're going to be doing that is because all of the automation when it comes to Gmail is about doing the settings first. Once you've got your settings in place, now you can literally automate the system through Gmail, and there's no charge. Like, Gmail does not charge you at all to use any of their workflow system that they have inside their Google Workspace or whatever kind of Google account that you have. So that won't be an issue for you to worry about as it comes to that. Cool? All right. So, and I am going to be doing some things real time. So you're not going to be looking at a PowerPoint. I'm going to drop it and go to my email and actually cover some things right directly in my email so that you guys will have a better idea of how it works. So concentration, right, is the currency of productivity. So really it's all about concentration. It's all about the Pomodoro technique and being able to know exactly what you need to be doing to focus, when it's the best time for you to focus. Email is something that you've got to figure out within your business world when you have time to do it. When do you have time to send emails? When do you have time to read emails? How are you going to have them categorized so that when it's time to do it, you can go to it and get through it in a breeze? Right? Are you going to have automatic responses going out on emails? Are you going to schedule emails to go out so that emails can go out at the proper time, but you don't have to be doing it at that time, right? So for those who follow me at all, when it comes to chronotype, I'm a wolf. So my typical hours are 3 in the morning to 9 in the morning. So I get up typically at about 9. Well, I have emails going out at 8 o'clock in the morning, almost daily, because I set them to go out at that time, even though I'm not going to be out. So the time that your emails go out need to be relevant to your audience, but you can do it by setting them up to go out at a particular time. And yes, you've got CRMs and email campaigners that do that, but you can actually do that right in Gmail yourself, and it still won't cost you anything to send emails out automatically. So I like to say automatically, because you're not actually doing it when it needs to be done, which is always helpful. So if those things are going to be helpful to you, put a 2 in the chat so I know, again, I'm on a right track when it comes to what I'm doing. I need to know that these are things that you guys are going to want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my slideshow, because we had time saver settings. And what I want to do is go in and hit you guys with some time saver settings so that you actually know what you need to be changing in there. So when it's time to automate everything, you can literally get through it pretty easily. So I'm going to go to my Gmail account, and I sent probably 3 or 4 emails out prior to the training. I think the last one went out maybe an hour ago, and it kept telling you to make sure that you have a Gmail account. So please make sure you have a Gmail account. Anything that I mentioned that's relative to maybe Outlook, I'll let you know that it's relative to Outlook when I mention it, so that you guys will understand that. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to go directly to my settings so that you'll see. And let me go to a account that's got less in it. So I'm gonna use both of these accounts to do some different things here, but I'm gonna do it this way, right? So here you go. Over here on the side, I'm gonna show you guys how to drop this so that it's not taking up space. Because again, when you're in your email, you're gonna see something called email facelift. And when we're talking about email facelift, you're talking about getting your email where it's slimmed down, where you're not dealing with so many emails. Where you're not dealing with so much stuff. A lot of us have taken our email and turned it into this whole thing where it's so much going on, like similar to my personal email, right? I've got business things that come to this email because this email does everything. So I've got 4,000 emails here, but if I literally go down to my all mail, I probably got 70 or 80,000 emails that have come into this email, because this is kind of a base drop email place for me. Every email you see here is coming from somewhere else. Right. So I'm going to use this as an example too, is that I'm going to be jumping back and forth so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So this widget right here, this is your settings button. And I have a sheet that goes over these settings. So don't worry about keeping up with me so much, as opposed to just listening to what I'm talking about doing and showing you how to do it. Right. Now, if you've got 2 screens set up, if you've got a split screen, anything like that happening on your side, then you should be able to kind of work in your Gmail and look at this at the same time. But if you can't, again, the recording will go out afterwards. And then also I have a sheet with these settings already laid out. Some of you guys have taken a time saver settings training with me before, so you've seen the PDF layout that goes over these. So over here on the right-hand side, you see it says CR settings. So when I click CR settings, this is where I'm going to start going into getting my settings set up so that I can automate things within Gmail, because these have to be set a certain way in order to do that. So the first thing I want you to notice across the top is these are the different labels for all the areas you can go within your settings. So that's going to be very important. Make sure you know that these are, when you click on each one of these, it changes the category of settings that you're in, right? All right, I'm gonna go all the way to the right-hand side. When we talk about keyboard shortcuts, you don't have to worry about finding the keyboard shortcuts, because they're right here. So if you come over here, right, it's gonna take you some time to learn them all. Just learn the ones first that you need to use, and I'll talk about a few of those this evening. But if you click keyboard shortcuts, it has just a whole lot of them here that you can look at. And these keyboard shortcuts are going to be important when it comes to having that hands-off dealing with your email, meaning that you don't have to touch your mouse to deal with your emails. You can literally just hit buttons and delete emails, archive emails, go to the next email. You can do all of that through shortcut keys. So you want to know what these are, but I'll cover some of the most important ones. For an example, X, and I'm looking over here on my sidebar over here. So X is to select an email. B is to move it to a folder. Again, don't have to remember these. They're in your keyboard shortcuts. You always have these in your Gmail settings. S will star an email if you want to star it. Y will archive. E will the letter E will archive your emails. GL, right? G is in go. L is in later, right? GL will allow you to go to your labels that you have, which are our folders in your account. You've got F, which will forward an email, R, which will reply to an email, C, which will compose the email. So most of them, the letter is relevant to what you're doing, so you'll be able to remember it that way. But again, if you want to write them down on a sticky, so as long as I've been doing this, the maybe 10 shortcut keys that I use most, I literally have them on a sticky note stuck to the side of my monitor in my office, because I want to be able to just look at them real quickly, because I have a lot of different things that I'm doing throughout the day when it comes to emailing and dealing with my software platforms and all that. And I don't want to remember. I want to just be able to look here and see it. So the ones that you decide you're going to use the most, and that's going to be personal preference. When you decide which ones you want to use, put them on a sticky note, put them on the side of your computer so that you can get to them. The shortcut keys are going to be key for that Swift system that I'm going to show you all, which is a system that I have for my company that I use to get my assistants and my executive assistant to move faster through emails. And then when I'm checking my own emails, obviously I use the Swift system as well. And it's through Auto Advance with your Gmail account. Again, no money attached to that, just something that you have access to. I'm going to skip themes because it has nothing to do with us automating. I'm going to skip offline. Just understand, offline is where you can cut that on. And let's say you're going to fly, you're going to an airport or whatever. If you want to be able to access certain emails while you don't have internet, if you're going to be somewhere that doesn't have internet, I don't know how many places don't have internet, but I know obviously there's some places that don't. You can click offline, and then what it will do is you can choose emails that you want to be able to access offline. And if you reply to those emails, they will hold them in a cloud. And then once you get to internet, it will send them off for you. That way you can still get the work done, even though you don't necessarily have internet where you're at the time. So the first one I'm going to go into with the second one, because I went into keyboard shortcuts already. The second one I'm going to go into is advanced. Why is advanced important? Advanced is important because we want you to turn all of these on. If they don't all say enable, you want to cut them on. And if anybody jumped in after I've gotten here already, when you get to your Gmail account, just click on this widget right here that says, well, it doesn't say settings unless you hover over it, but the settings widget. And once you click that, you're going to click more settings. And then that's how you're going to get where I'm at right now, right? So when you click on advanced, auto advanced, this is key for the Swift system. This is key for getting through your emails in a quick, fast way, so that you don't have to come back out into your inbox to get to the next email. So you want to turn auto advance on. Templates you want to turn on, because templates is how you create a template. So if you're sending emails, the same email over and over again, instead of typing that email over and over again, you can choose templates, and you can just click that and it'll populate that particular email, and then you just send it to the next person, right? That's another time saver for you. Custom keyboard shortcuts, enable. So all the keyboard shortcuts that I showed you all over here, unless you enable them here, when you click that X, it is not going to select an email because you don't have your shortcut keys on. So you want to make sure you have those shortcut keys on. And then the unread message icon, I enable that as well, so that I know, so I get that message for my unread emails. Again, that's personal preference. You don't need to cut that on to automate anything. So you can cut that on if you want to, but the custom keyboard shortcuts, the templates, and the auto advance, you definitely want to have those turned on in order to go through the Swift system and be able to get through your emails and check your emails at a certain time of day and get through them once you put them in particular folders that are going to be a better system. Now, understand this. You guys all that's been on anything with me before, majority of the people that are on here this evening have gotten on other trainings with me. This hour-long training obviously is more of an overview. I can't give you everything in 1 hour because it's too much information for 1 hour, but I'm gonna do as much as I can. That's why I have it set up in a PowerPoint. I'm also going to send the slides that have details on how you do steps. I'm going to send you those slides as well so that you'll have those. But I am going to be doing a 3-hour boot camp. And the 3-hour boot camp is going to be where I go over everything in depth, where we're going to literally go into our computers. Each person, we're going to go into the computers during the training and get things set up and then set you up in a folder system where you have a laid out downstream system where your emails are going through filter. And now you've got a more almost like somebody as the mail comes in, putting it in folders for you. We're going to have all of that set up and I'll walk everybody through that entire process. That's why it's a 3-hour boot camp. It is going to be on a Saturday on May 25th, but I'll give you more details on that as we close out this evening. But just letting you know what we're going to be covering today. It's going to be a lot of information, but of course, obviously, I can't show you how to automate your entire emailing system from this point on in the 60-minute training because that's just not realistic. So I'm going to cover as much as I can. So let's move over to Chat and Meet. Now, if you notice, I'm going from the right to the left. So on the, if somebody said that they don't see the shortcuts, if you don't see keyboard shortcuts over here, it may be because you have to turn them on here. So let me go over here real quickly. I'm gonna go over to where it says General. So anybody else that's, thank you, Sandra, for saying that, because it might be somebody else who don't see it either. Okay, yeah, it looks like James don't see it either. Okay, so let's go over here. This is why you should go from left to right, but I'm going right to left. This is why you should go left to right, so you can turn some of these things on. So if you go over here to General, the General tab, and scroll down, right, you should see keyboard shortcuts down here. See where it says keyboard shortcuts? Go ahead and turn that on. If yours is off, go ahead and turn it on. And when you turn it on, it'll now show up on your board over there once you reset it. And it probably once you click that and come down to the bottom and click Save Changes, it's going to reset. It's going to spin and take you out of here, and you're going to have to come back in, just so you guys know. And also, something else while I'm in here. I just passed it. At least I think I did. Okay, the auto advance. I'm gonna show you guys why this is important, but you want to go ahead and click go to the next newer conversation. If you're not in this area right now, don't worry about it. I'm gonna come back here and do this at another time. But anybody who is coming here for the other deal, go ahead and click that now. But I'm gonna come back to this general label and I'm a general area, and I'm gonna show you guys everything that you need to do there. Right. So now anybody who did not see keyboard shortcuts, you should be seeing keyboard shortcuts now that you turned it on, that your computer has reset or your email has refreshed. I'm gonna go over here to Chat and Meet. I want you to turn off Google Chat and turn off Meet unless you're using this on a regular basis. If you are using these features, then leave them on. If you aren't using them, this is part of your Gmail facelift. I don't want you having things on that you're not going to use, because what ends up happening with this is you've got all these boxes and icons showing up that are distracting you from concentrating on handling email when you go in here, and you've got things showing that you're not even using. So you want to turn those off if you're not using them. If you're saying to yourself, what is this? Turn them off, because that means you're not using them. That's why you don't know what they are, right? So add-ons, we're not going to worry about that. Forwarding and pop mail, we're not going to worry about that. We're not dealing with that today. Filters and block messages, we may come back here to filters. I think we're just going to deal with the filters in the other filter area. If we need to come back here, we may, but right now we're not going to worry about that. Accounts, we're not going to worry about that. These aren't things that's going to help us automate. These are all internal things that you can do inside Gmail that will help in other ways, right? So let's go all the way to the left to general. And I want you guys to make some changes here, and I'm gonna let you know why you're making these changes so that you'll know how to look at making these changes in particular. So where it says maximum page size, this is where your email anxiety can be important or unimportant, right? Say, I've got 25. You can have 100 emails on one page if you want to, but that's too much for some people. So if that's too much for you, then cut it down to as low as you can so that when you go into your email, you're not just bombarded with all of this information. Does that make sense? Put a 3 in the chat if that makes sense. Sometimes it's just the visual of seeing all these emails. So you can control how many emails you see in here. And now I keep mine on 25, but I'm going to put mine on 10 simply because the example, when I go through Swift, for the example, I only wanted to be 10 emails in my inbox so I can get through those pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and change that now for myself just because I know I'm going to be doing that later on. The undo send, right? You got 35, 5, 10, 20, or 30 seconds. I would suggest 30 seconds. If you don't know what that is, what that means is put a 4 in the chat if you've ever sent an email and as soon as you click send, you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have sent that. I forgot to put something. I forgot to add an attachment. I said something I shouldn't have said, right? Whatever you've done, when you put on undo send on 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds to click the undo button, which will show up after you send it, and you can click it and you can bring that bad boy right on back and then fix whatever you need to fix, right? So that's been really helpful to me to have that undo send. Default reply, I always put mine on reply, not reply all. Because what will happen is on default, if you're having a reply all, when you go to reply to an email that has other people on it, it's going to automatically reply to everybody. And you may only be talking back to that one person. So if you want to click reply all, you can, but because it's an option there. But if you have that as the default, then whenever you click reply, it's going to automatically send the email to everybody in that thread, and you may not want to do that. So your hover actions, enable hover actions. I suggest you doing that. What that means is this saves time. Why does it save time? Because you can hover over things and it'll let you know what it means, as opposed to you clicking on something and opening it up, because that takes more time, right? So you go into something, you got to come out of it. If you just hover over it and it tells you what it is, now you don't have to worry about that. So enable that. Send and archive. This is going to be very important. You're going to see this on another slide. Turn this on. Because this is where, when you're archiving emails, you want to be able to send an email to somebody and archive that thread at the same time so that it's not now sitting in your inbox as something else that you got to continue to see, right? So now here's a great thing about send and archive. If you send an archive an email and I send an email out to Melissa, when I send an email out to Melissa, if I archive that email, well, when she replies, if it's something that she needs to reply to, when she replies to that email, guess what? It'll pop back up in my inbox. So I'll have access back to that email again without going to get it out of archive. So don't worry about losing the email or having to find it in another space. And again, when we get to the archiving, you're going to see where I've got archiving is not deleting, and that's important for you all to know there as well. So always display external images. That's personal preference. Whether you want the images to show or not, that depends what kind of images that you're sending back and forth. That depends on whether it's slowing down your computer. If your computer moves slow already, if your internet is slow, you might want to turn that off. Because if you turn that off, then the data that those images are absorbing, right, you'll cut that down. So if you're having connection issues, if you don't want those images to show right up in the email as it's coming in, then I would go ahead and turn that off, right? So ask before displaying external images. That's how you do that. Your load time will speed up. Why is that important? Because if your load time speeds up, that means you're saving time. And that's what this is about, right? This is about productivity, workflow, getting through your emails quicker. So if you're having that kind of issue, then I would definitely click ask before displaying so you won't have to worry about that. Turn a dynamic email on. So I would definitely suggest that you cut that on so that you can utilize that. I'll tell you what that is at another time. It's 8:30 already. I don't want to go into dynamic email right now, but I will tell you it's something that it's not going to hurt you to have it on. So it won't, even if you don't know what it is yet, turn it on, right? Grammar suggestions on, spelling suggestions on. On auto advance, you want to click go to the next newer conversation. Why is that important? Because when we do Swift, if I've got 10 emails, I'm going to go down to the 10th email. I'm going to respond to that email and it won't pull me out of that inbox. So I'm looking at the 9 left. It's going to just pull me to the 9th email automatically. When I deal with that 9th email, it's going to pull me to the 8th email automatically. Put a 5 in the chat if that makes sense to you. And this is why auto advance is also important. So you want to go to the newer email, start out your old email and go newer, right? So auto correct, you want that on. Smart compose, you want that on. Personalization, you want that on. Conversation view, you want that on. Nudges, right? Where it says suggest emails to reply to, suggest emails to follow up on. This is a really cool AI added feature that Gmail does. And why is this important? Because if you have an email that came in and you haven't replied to it, Google is reading that email and saying, hey, here's a nudge. This email came in day before yesterday. You never replied to it. It looks important. So you may have forgotten to reply to it. It will nudge you to tell you that, hey, it'll show up and it'll be red letters and it'll say, right, this came in this many days ago. Maybe you should reply to it. Also, when you send somebody an email, so let's say that I email Nancy and I say, and in that email, it's an open email where I'm saying, please let me know when you would like to schedule an appointment with me. When I send that email out to Nancy, if Nancy never replies, Gmail will nudge me and say, hey, Coach Dunbar, Nancy never replied to your email asking her to schedule an appointment. And now I can send her an email again, or I can send her a text message to remind her, because maybe that email went to spam. Maybe she forgot to respond to it. So it's kind of a reminder. It's almost like Gmail tapping on your shoulder and saying, hey, maybe you should look into this. Maybe you should follow up on this, right? So cut those nudges on. Smart reply on. Smart features on personalization, you want that on. Smart features on personalization in other Google products, you want that on. Now, mail notifications off. I suggest off. Simply why? I used to suggest on. So if you've taken my training before on email, I said, cut this on, right? New mail notification or important mails, cut them on. Now I'm saying turn them off, because what happens when you turn them off is it eliminates the distraction. What I want you guys to get, again, briefly here, but if you guys take the boot camp, what I want you to do is control your email, meaning you should have on your calendar when you're checking your email, right? Maybe you get up in the morning and you check your email at 8 o'clock in the morning and you go through your emails, right? From 8 to 8:30. Well, you may have another time from 12 to 12:15, then another time from 7 to 7:15. If you have scheduled on your calendar, which is your email scheduling discipline, so that's the ESD system that I use, email scheduling discipline. If you have that discipline, guess what? You don't need notifications letting you know that emails came in, because you have a scheduled time on your calendar that you're going to check your emails. Now you're not distracted while you're doing other daily tasks. I have become the king of putting my phone on focus, my cell phone on focus. Like, my phone is on focus most of the day because I have a busy schedule every day. And I don't want my phone dinging and beeping and flashing all throughout the day. So I use the focus feature so that nobody can get through but my mom, my sisters, the two mothers of my children, right, and my fiance. Nobody else can get through focus mode. Why is that? Because I don't want to be distracted while I'm working. If I'm working with a client, I want to work with that client. If I'm sending emails or creating a course, I want to be able to concentrate on that. And then I can look when I take a break, because I have scheduled breaks. I can go to my break, and then I can check my phone. And whatever I miss, guess what? It's going to still be there. If it was a fire that needed to be put out, it's probably been put out by the time I get there. Does that make sense? So make sure that when you're talking about eliminating distractions, those mail notifications on, you don't need your phone dinging. And if you guys are like me, the majority of your emails are what? Junk, stuff that you really don't even need to be looking at. So if the majority of your emails are not important business or life emails, then having your notifications on, you literally notifying yourself however many emails you get a day. I probably get 1,000 emails a day. But if you only get 100 emails a day, if 50 of those you don't care about, that means you're getting 50 notifications a day that you're picking up your phone and looking at. You're losing time. You're breaking your concentration for something that's not important to you, right? So if that makes sense, put a 6 in the chat. So moving on, stars. This is what I suggest for stars. Go ahead and click on 1 star, right? Not 4 stars, not all stars. This is something else that I've changed in my training, right? Because I'm starting to focus more on eliminating distractions and concentrating on workflow and productivity when you're in that email, so that you're not having email anxiety. And somebody said that my emails are going to their spam. I don't know why that is, but if you reply to one of my emails, if you reply to me to that email, it'll probably stop my emails from going there once you reply, because then your Gmail system says, oh, you respond to this person. Because a lot of times people just read my emails because there's nothing to reply to. So because they don't ever reply to me, that my emails continue to go to spam. But sometimes they're going to go to spam anyway, because it's just kind of the ecosystem of email. Sometimes they go to spam. Make it a regular thing to check your spam at least daily, once a day. Check your spam, typically in the evening. Check your spam to see if anything went in there that's not important. I mean, that's important. Pull it out of there and then delete everything else that's in spam. And remember always, right? Side note, you're going to see it on one of the slides, I believe. Once you send your mail, your emails to trash, go empty out the trash too, because you're still taking up data on your computer, in your system, right? Not on your computer, but in your system, your email cloud system. If you've got 2,000 emails in the trash, now they delete automatically after 30 days, but within that 30-day period, you've got thousands of emails in the trash if you throw a lot of your emails in the trash. So you want to avoid that by making sure that you are focused on getting those out of the trash at least once a week. On Fridays, get them out of there and make sure that those are clear. So whatever one of these you want to use as something that you can label emails with, go ahead and use whatever one you want, but just use one, because again, you don't want all of these options on the side, because now you're turning your email system into a CRM, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to come into your email and just email. That's what the email facelift is about. We've already talked about keyboard shortcuts being on. Now here, personal preference. I have mine on text. You can put yours on icon. Why is that important? Because a lot of times these icons that are in your bar, and put a 7 in the chat if this is you. How many of you all have over your emails those icons going across the top, and you don't even know what the heck they are? You don't know which one means archiving, which one means marked as read, which one means marked as unread. You don't even know what the icons mean. You just know they're up there. So you're trying to figure out which one is which when you're trying to do something in your email, right? If you use text, it'll actually tell you what it is. So instead of it having the logo for archive, it'll actually say archive. So you'll see that when I go back to my general inbox, you'll see that I don't have icons, I have words. So if you're that person that don't know what those icons mean, change it from icons, put it on text, and that'll solve that problem. So hopefully that'll help you. Your picture, just for professional reasons, put your logo, put your picture there. That way, when you're emailing people, they actually see you. I know some of y'all got your dog there and your babies there and all that. If you got a personal email account, put whatever you want there. If you got a business account, keep it business. It's just like a social media profile. If you've ever taken a social media class, putting your dogs and your kids on your social media profile, if all you're doing on social media is engaging with people, just interacting, socializing, then that doesn't matter. But if you own a business, then you shouldn't have your pets and your kids as your actual picture on social media, and you shouldn't on your email, because when you email somebody, that picture shows up. So you want it to be something that represents you or your brand if you're doing business. And I know most of the people who get on my emails, they are in business. So this is your signature area. We're not going to be covering signature tonight, obviously, for time reasons. So we're not going to be going into that, but I have done trainings on this before. We will be going into depth on how to create a professional signature in the boot camp. So that will be something that we'll be covering, and how you can add as many signatures here if you can, which is really good if you've got more than one person working inside your email. So if your assistant is using your email because you've got a info at or support at, having more than one signature is being there is good. And also, if you have different programs you do, having different signatures with different information for that program. Maybe it's different websites, or maybe it's a different appointment link that you want to have there. That's going to be important as well. So down here for personal level indicators, what you want to do here is no indicators. Because again, you don't want to turn your email into a CRM. But snippets, show snippets. What is that? It allows you to be able to hover, right, and see snippets of the message. Again, this is a time-saving feature for me, because I may not want to read that email right now. It may be something that says important. People will clickbait you. They send you an email that says important. If I can look at a snippet of the email, I know whether they just putting important, so I'll open it, or whether it's actually important. So that's why I have this on. My vacation responder, we're not going to cover vacation responders today for the obvious reasons, for time. And then on the bottom, if you made any of the changes that I suggested, please make sure you go ahead and hit save changes so that those changes are changed. Now, most of what we just did will help with your automation as you go into doing other workflow production. Take those steps. Those automations will help you, and you'll see how here. So every time you go in there and make those changes, like you see my email resetting, your email is going to reset the same way, just letting you know that it made the changes that you looked at. So now that I'm in my inbox, right? Over here, if you click this menu button, you see how this opened up and it's just sitting open? A lot of us, we have our emails set up this way where this is just open. And again, it's taking space away from your email when you have this way. Right? So if you got multiple inboxes like me, you got your multiple inboxes over here, which you can adjust the size of it. I like mine's on that size, but you can move that over as long as you do it right. Hold on. It's not letting me move it right now, but we're not doing that right now, so that's not important. But on your multiple inboxes, you can move this a little bit, scoot that over, but I want as much space as possible. So here, I don't want this sticking out like this. Because again, too much distraction going over here on the left-hand side. Too much going on. So what I do is I come here and I click this and I move it over. Now, whenever you hover over this, it's going to open up automatically anyway. So it'll open up and slide on its own. So that's kind of where that's at, if that makes any sense. Cool? All right. So now we've got all of our settings done. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me do one more thing. Let me go back in here real quick. Go back into CR settings. Go over here to labels. This is where your labels are. Now, again, I do not go in here. I do not go in here and create labels. You can, but I create labels right within my inbox, which is a much better situation to be in, right? Doing right in there. But if you ever need to edit any of your labels, if you want to come in here and create a bunch of labels at one time, right, for different things, you can do that. So this is your label area. So any labels that you've created, you can find them right here. As well as over here on the sidebar, these are your labels here too. If you want to create a label here, you're going to click right here and create that label, right? All right, so inbox is where you create the multiple inboxes. So when we get to that, I'll go in here and show you how to do that when we get to that particular slide. Is that cool? All right, if you guys are good, still good, put a 7 in the chat if you guys are still good over there. Cool. All right. Everybody still hanging with me? All right, so let me go back. All right, setting up your labels, setting up your filters, Gmail facelift. I'm just pushing through the slides because I'm gonna shut the slideshow back down and go there to labels and filters and those things. That way we have. So we just said time saver settings, labels, and filters. So let's run back to the email. Let's go back to our inbox. All right, so let's look at labels. So remember, labels are folders. So whenever you're hearing anything about labels, what we're talking about is creating a folder in your email for you to keep things in. That's what that is. So these folders here, this is a system. Again, I'm not going over this system today because this system is more of the in-depth, the downstream system where I show you how to create these specific folders and you just jump through those folders and do your emailing throughout the day. That's a downstream connected to the Swift system, and we're not going over that today, but that's why these are set up over here. So whatever labels that you want to create for whatever you want to create them for, you want to have those on the left-hand side. Now, how do you create that label? You just click label, and then you're going to create the name of the label, and I always try to use 1 or 2 letter words, right? 1 or 2 letter words, because you don't want it to be a long word. You want to be able to see it on the left-hand side, and if you need to put it under another label, you're going to click here to put it under another label, right? So if I say test, right, that's going to be the label. And then if I say I'm going to put that under another label, I will click this and I will put that under whatever label I wanted to have that under, right? So I'm going to create a test label, and that's how you would create that label. And now that label is going to be over here on this side. And if I scroll down, this is in alphabetical order. So when I scroll down, it's down here, test. So over here on the left, you see these, how far they are to the left? When they're indented, that's because it's a folder inside a folder. So when I say they're in alphabetical order, if you're thinking, why is V before T? Because this V is in a subfolder under this T. So the T is the main folder. That's why it's got an arrow pointing down. So if I close that, right? All of these arrows that are pointing down, if I close them, it's only going to allow the main one to show here, right? Any folder that's a subfolder, if I click that arrow, it'll drop that subfolder down and give me whatever folder is in that folder. Make sense? Put an 8 in the chat if that makes sense. So that is how you initially create a label. How do we create a filter, right? And a filter is more or less having that secretary go in, right? Go in and say, hey, let me filter this message, put this message in a folder for you so that you don't necessarily have to do it. Does that make sense? So let's see. Do I have a, because this should have been there anyway. So let's take this. Let's take noun site, right? So if you would notice here, billing here, this should be, I think it's some other billing. I got a couple of billing messages because I just changed my credit cards. So a bunch of stuff is bouncing because it's not connected to the right card. So I'm going to put those in those folders that they go in. So let's just take that for instance. So I'm going to take this email that says billing. I'm going to click it. Now, when I get inside that email, I'm going to come over here to the right. See these 3 dots over here, guys? I'm going to go to these 3 dots and I'm going to click. And then I'm going to go to filter messages like this. I'm going to click that button. And then it puts up here the email that it came from. This is the email that it came from. Now, you can use other identifying features if you want to. I don't choose to. The great thing is once I do that, it will literally pull up emails from that same particular, right? It'll pull up emails. So now I've got those there. So if I wanted to delete all those emails, I can kill this box and then delete all those emails if I wanted to, right? I don't want to. I want to create a filter, right? So I'm going to click create a filter. And now it's going to give me several different options that I can do with that filter. I'm telling this what I want it to do, right? So do I want it to skip the inbox and archive, right? Do I want to mark it as read? Do I want to star it, right? Do I want to apply it to a label? So I'm going to say, yeah, I want to apply it to a label, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the label I want to apply it to. Just like that. Label's already there, right? I'm going to say, never send this to spam because I don't want it to go to spam. And the great thing about never sending it to spam, right, is now you don't have to worry about looking for those emails in spam because you've made it clear that an email that comes from this address won't go to your spam. So if you've got emails that you know go to spam, that you're tired of finding them in spam, You can also go in there and do it that way as well. But you can also reply to the email. And typically, your email system will stop sending it to spam once that happens, right? So now I can send template. Why is that important? Because if you have templated emails already set up, you can literally say, when this email comes to me, send this email back. And now you've automatically replied to that email with the templated email that's already in your system. And again, you're doing this at no cost as well. This is not something that it costs you to do, right? So always mark it as important, never mark it as important. You can categorize the email if you want to with the categories that Gmail automatically gives you. I don't use that often, but personal preference. And then it also says, do you want to apply this filter to all the emails that have already come to you from that email address? Yes, I do. And then I click create filter, and then I kind of just let it do its thing. And then eventually it will put all of those inside of a folder, right? Automatically put those in the folder, and then any email that comes from there, that's what it'll do as well. It'll put them in the folder when it comes from that email address. So while I'm waiting for that to happen over there, I'm gonna do something over here, that other email, so that I'm not losing any time. So when it comes to labeling, labels, and filters, that is all part of the Swift system, so that you know how to put things in folders, put things in filters. Because when you have it going into a filter, guess what? That's one less email you have to process. So if 20 emails came in over the last hour, and 10 of those emails that came in went to a folder automatically, that's one less thing that you have to do. Now all you're doing is checking those particular folders when it's time to check those particular folders, if that makes sense, right? So if I'm in a situation where I say, I go over here and I go to inbox, and I go to I'm not going to use these newer folders. Let's take this read later folder. I go to this read later folder right here. Once I get inside my read later read later folder, sorry. All right, there you go. Once I get inside my read later folder, now I can deal with any emails that are inside of here, if that makes any sense. Right? So if I say I got time on my calendar to go in a particular folder, which is what you see here. Remember I said the downstream system, reply, take action, set meetings. Once you're using this as a downstream system, you can say, oh, I need to go to my emails that I need to reply to. And then you're going to click on that, and then you're going to go to emails that you need to reply to, because you've already put those in there automatically by having them filtered there, or you went through there and just did it yourself. So if I have in my inbox just a bunch of emails and I want them to go into reply and get to them later on, if I'm looking at my email and emails have come in, and I'm going to undo this after I do it. I'm just going to do it for this example. And I click and I say, let's just take all of these emails, or just take a couple of them. If I say Zoom, this, I'm going through my email and I'm looking at things and I'm clicking. I click those and I say, I want to add those with the label, right? I want to add those to reply, because those are emails I need to reply to later. I go on my email, I put them in the folder. Boom, I apply them. Now I've got one reply there. Now, when I want to reply to those emails later on at another time, I've got a 15, 20-minute spot on my calendar to reply, to go to my reply emails. I am going to go to those emails over here, click reply. It's going to pull all those emails up, and then I'm going to reply to these emails individually. Now, let's reply to these as if I would be replying to them in the sense that I was saying through that Swift system. And as a matter of fact, let me... and I'll just put them in folders. So I'll put them in, I'll archive them or something, so that they're not gone. So if I went to this bottom email, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at the bottom email. Remember I said you go to the bottom email and you go up. That's why you set up the auto advance. If I come to my bottom email and click on it, and I go inside this email like this, now I can decide what I want to do with this email. And if I say I want to delete this email, right? My keyboard shortcuts says that I can delete an email by hitting the pound sign. That will delete the email. So if I hit delete, hit the pound sign, it deletes the email. And then what did it do? It went directly to my next email, right? Right? And now I'm going to delete this email. And now it goes to my next email, right? Now I'm going to delete this email. and it goes to my next email. So when I decide that I'm going to come out of this particular box, right? This particular situation, see, I've only got 2 emails left because I've deleted them, and then it just took me to the next email. Instead of me coming out of my email and seeing that I've got 2 left or seeing that I've got 30 left, I can stay and work right within my emails and then clear my emails out that way, right? Same thing here. If I decide I want to delete this email, I'm going to delete the email, boom, and now I come out on my emails. I can go into another folder and I can do the same thing. If I go to my read later folder over here, I've got these in read later. So if I decide I want to put these in places, if I go to this bottom one and say, oh, this is about Stripe fees going up, right? So I may say with these, I want to put this in a different folder for myself, right? If I want to put it in a different folder, I can click the letter L, right? And now it pulls up my labels. That's a shortcut key. Now I can start typing the folder that I want it to go in, Stripe. Now it pulls up Stripe. Now I can click Stripe and click apply. And now I've applied that conversation to that. Now, if I want to archive this email now, because I'm done, right? I can either archive it up here in my system, right? I can click on more and I can click archive, or I can simply use a shortcut key in archive, and I can literally just hit the E button on my keyboard, archive that email, and once I archive the email, it'll actually send me to my next email. Does that make sense? So I undid that because I didn't want that to go in archive. So that's how that would work. So once I get in my emails, go to the bottom, I can move my way up from there. So let me go back to my, where was I at? Read later. Yeah, and that's what you would do. So again, I only got 10 emails showing up right now because I wanted to show you a shorter bunch of emails while I was doing this. But this is how you will go in your system and then just work your way up through your emails so that you can get rid of your emails and then move up to the next one. Again, nobody wants to come out and see this box with all this information, because when you see that, it becomes overwhelming again. Now you don't want to mess with your emails because you're thinking this is going to be too time consuming, and you may not want that to be the scenario. So when you're in these folders dealing with those things, this is what you have going on. Again, these are just all folders that I have for different reasons. Different labels, different folders for different reasons, but the downstream system is going to be in this, and I have it numbered so that they stay at the top. Reply to emails, take action, set a meeting, forward an email, and then review further. Does that make sense? So you can put whatever things are important to you, unsubscribe, whatever is important to you. So the next thing that was on that list to go over would have been unsubscribe. So let me show you a trick to unsubscribe, and I'm gonna go to my other email for that because I've got more things I can unsubscribe from there. So one of the ways that you can do that is by filter. So you can come up here to your search bar and you can type in unsubscribe, right? You see I've already done that. When you click unsubscribe, it's going to pull up emails that have the ability to be unsubscribed from. So you will see it's highlighted unsubscribe here. The highlight there lets you know that there's a way to unsubscribe from these emails. Now, let's say that if I'm in here, I'm in this system, and I hover. You see how I'm hovering, guys? And the email is popping up. When I hover over Experian, see how the unsubscribe pulls right up there? Same thing here. If I come here and I say unsubscribe, let's take this, something that I don't mind unsubscribing from, Universal Music Group. I can come over here, highlight it. I don't have to highlight it, but hover over it, click unsubscribe, pulls up. Now I just unsubscribe. That's step one. Well, what about getting rid of those emails that are in my inbox now? Now I'm going to click on that same email that said unsubscribe. And I'm going to go over here to these 3 dots, click the 3 dots, and I'm going to click filter messages like these. Remember I did that before? But I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to click filter messages like this. And now it's going to pull up messages that came from that same email that I just unsubscribed from. But instead of me clicking create a filter, I'm going to close that box out. Now I got the emails here. I'm just going to click here, click them all, and then I'm going to click delete. Now I've gotten rid of the emails that came in from that emailer, and I've unsubscribed from the emails all at the same time. Right? And if you do that 2 or 3 times a day, you'll start to get rid of, right? And if you're the person that's saying, when I unsubscribe, I get that email back again, you're probably getting that email back again because they're using the Gmail trick on you in reverse. So let me tell you what I mean by the Gmail trick. I want you, and I'm gonna ask you to put a 9 in the chat if you know what this is after you hear me say it. The way Gmail is set up, my personal email is dunbar.robert@gmail.com. If I literally gave James my email and didn't put the dot in there, the email is going to still come to me because Gmail doesn't recognize that. So if he emails me to dunbarrobert@gmail.com, I'm going to still get that email, even though he didn't put the dot in there. So put a 9 in the chat if you knew that already. See how many 9s pop up. All right, no 9s popping up. That means nobody knew that. Now, let me tell you about how you can use that to help yourself. Whenever you give your email to somebody that you think may be not shady, but a person that might sell your information, if it's some company that's asking you for your email, and you're like, I don't know if I want to get in my email, if you've got a Dunbar.Robert, right, for yourself, or something, a hyphen or a dot or any of that in your email, give it to them without that. If you give it to them without that, you're going to still get the email. But if you get 5 more emails within the next week to that same email address, that means that they shared your email address. They sold your email address to other companies. Because they would only have that because they got it from that company that you gave it to, because it's not really your email address. Does that make sense? Put a 9 in the chat if that makes sense. So what's happening a lot of times is you're giving your email to a company. I give somebody dunbar.robert@gmail.com. I then a month later unsubscribe from their emails. Well, when I unsubscribe and they see that I unsubscribe from dunbar.robert@gmail.com, they then just put dunbarrobert@gmail.com in their system and continue emailing me because they don't want me off their list. Does that make sense? Now, it's illegal for them to do that, but that's what they're doing. So pay attention when you're unsubscribing to see what they're unsubscribing, what you're unsubscribing from, because it typically will tell you if you go to their website and unsubscribe what email you're unsubscribing for. And sometimes you don't even realize that that dot, that hyphen is not in your email. So it's important for you to recognize that, because now you can say, oh, they're emailing me to the fake email address because you probably already unsubscribed months ago and forgot, and you're saying, man, I'm getting emails from them again. Let me unsubscribe. Maybe it didn't work. No, it worked. They just found a way to alter your email and it still will come to you. So put a 10 in the chat if that makes sense. So look at the emails that are coming in from companies you already subscribed from and see if they've got the email going to an email address that's missing something for you. If that's the case, unsubscribe from that email address, but also send an email to the, I can't think of right now, there's a link that you can go to send for spam people that spam you. Send an email there and they will hit them from the other side because they know that they're doing that. Plus, you can also report it to Gmail, which is an easier system to do, and Gmail is pretty good with that. So if you get an email from a company, you can report them to spam and say that it's a spam email, and Gmail will stop emails coming into your inbox from that particular company. So that's another way to get around that as well when it comes to unsubscribing. But part of you getting your emails down to 0 is you knowing that first, let's get the junk out of there. Let's extract the junk. Let's get the unsubscribed emails out of my inbox, because that's holding a lot of weight in your emails as well. So when you're unsubscribing, like I just showed you, click on that unsubscribe, pull up those emails that say unsubscribe, hover over the emails. The easier ones are going to be the ones that just have it pull up like that. Click on unsubscribe. When you click on unsubscribe, now you've done that. Now click on the email, click on filter these, drop the box, and then just delete all those emails. Now you've gotten rid of, now you're keeping emails from bombarding your inbox. So while you're trying to get yourself down to email 0, the last thing you want is a million emails coming in that you don't want. Is that fair? So unsubscribing is going to be key to you getting down to email zero. Another way for you to get down to email zero is going to be for you to cut down how many emails are even available to you that aren't being archived, right? So I typically myself keep any email in my inbox, in my immediate inbox, that's come in all the way from January 1st of the prior year, based on what I do for a living. You may only want the last 30 days of email showing for you. So you do whatever you need to do for your particular business, right? But I'm gonna show you how to do it. So if I go to my search bar and I type in before, gotta spell it right first. Before, you see what this does? Because I've done this before, right? So you see what it says? Any email before 2023, December 31st, I have those emails archived because I don't need to see those emails. If I need to find something that came in older than that, I can go to my archive emails and I can pull it. I can just go to archive emails, type in what I'm looking for, and it's going to pull it up. So remember, archive is not deleting, so you don't have to worry about it deleting the emails. That's not what it's doing when you're archiving. So it says before 2023, 12. So I'm gonna click on that. Right? So now I want to make a change on this. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna say before, let's see, 2000 and no, I'm gonna still stick to 2023. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say before 05. How many days in May? 30, right? So I'm gonna say 5/30, 2023.
31. 31 in May. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna say any emails before 5/31/2003, right? And I'm gonna click that. If I don't want those emails, any of these emails showing up, right? I want them to be in archive. I'm going to now click this button over here. And remember, this is only selecting the 25 emails in this drop. If I want all of those emails, I'm going to click select all conversations that apply to this search. Right? And now I'm going to archive those emails because I want to get my inbox down and I don't need all those unnecessary emails. Part of the reason why you've got so many emails is because you've got emails that you haven't dealt with. And even though you haven't dealt with them, they're still sitting in there. So they're just becoming overwhelming for you. So over here where it's got inbox 4039, you're going to see that start to go down here in a minute. It's going to start to drop because it's going to go through those emails and archive those emails. And then it won't be any emails after that date. They'll all be in my archived email, which is, where do I find that at? Over here on the left-hand side. If I click more and I go down here to all mail, that's where all of my mail is, meaning that mail that I never opened, any mail that came into me that I did not delete. If I got an email and I didn't delete it, it's in all mail. So while you only seeing 4,000 emails in my inbox, if I click on all mail, you're going to see a different amount. So over here on the right-hand side, look on the right-hand side, look what it says. 1 of 25 of 135,000 emails. So that's what I actually have. But you're not seeing that because I have those emails archived. So because they're archived, they're not showing up. And if I ever decide I want to go in there and deal with them, I can. If I want to go in there and say, you know what, delete every email that's 10 years old because I'm not ever going to look at them, I can go in there and I can delete every email that's 10 years old and I won't have to worry about it. But the main thing is you don't want it here in your inbox. You don't want to look at this number when you come in. You don't want to see that. And that's what you're looking to eliminate. So when I click on inbox and come out of all mail, what happens over here? 4,515. That's how many emails are there in general inside of my inbox, not my all mail. inside my inbox. So really what you're doing is if you start to go through and cut your emails down, and it takes a little bit of time because Gmail has to process the emails and send them in there, but you're going to see this number start to dwindle down. Here in a minute or two, it'll drop down to maybe 3,000 or something. Then it'll drop down again. So it's going to go down a few hundred at a time, depending on how many emails were in that block. I don't know how many emails were in that block because I didn't look at them, but I know that it was probably a few hundred, I would imagine. So you'll see this number start to drop as it shifts those over into archive, and it's making sure that they're not in folders that they need to be in for any particular reason. So while all of that's happening in the background, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the PowerPoint back up real quick.
Can I ask a quick question that had to do with what you were just talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, when you had the 5 there and you had one from the billing from the Now site,
Mm-hmm.
how come that didn't go into a folder?
Which one?
When you had 5 of them and you were, it's already gone now.
But it was in this. It was hold on, let me see something real quick.
Yeah, because I was wondering why it didn't go into the folder that you had.
No, it did. See right here? That's why it's got Now site here. That's the folder.
It did go into it.
Yeah, so everything you see here with this next to it like this guy, this is the label that is in the folder that it's in. So this is in more than one folder. So this Zoom is in this folder, and that folder. So however many gray boxes you see next to the actual email, that's how many different folders you have it in. Because sometimes my emails may be a receipt, and it may be, it also may be in the folder for the actual company, and it may also be in the folder for receipts for my company.
Right.
So whenever you do that, it's going to add a label for each one of the things that it goes into. So now when I look at that email, I can say, okay, these are the places, these are the files that this email is in.
Okay, so now if I wanted to get rid of the Zoom ones of appointments that have already happened,
mm-hmm.
How do I delete those? Like there's a ton of them. Say you had 10 appointments in a day.
So if you had Zoom, so you would go to one of them, right? So that's how you would filter. You would go to one of them. So, and hopefully this is helpful to some of you other people who are on here too. So let's say I wanted to go to an email for an appointment, and it doesn't have to be this. It doesn't matter what it is. I can go to that particular email from Zoom. I can go to this button that says more. I can click it. I can say filter messages like these.
Right.
It's going to pull up all those emails. Now all I got to do is drop this box and they're all here. Now I can just click this, select them all, and then delete them.
Gotcha.
Now I'm deleting them in bulk.
So as long as that email matches that Zoom thing, because I get the ones that say reminder, Google Calendar reminder for the appointments that I have. It
doesn't matter. Whatever type of email that you want to get rid of, you go to that example of that email.
Okay.
So if it's a reminder one as opposed to the meeting registration, because these are meeting registrations. Let's say it's a meeting reminder. Then you're going to go to a meeting reminder email, click on that particular email, click on filter messages like this.
Okay.
Click that. It's going to open up the dialog box, and it's also going to populate behind the box all the emails that match that came in from that same email address. Now, at that point, just drop the dialog box. Now you got the list there. Just go there. And if you don't want to delete them all, say, for instance, it's a reminder for 2 that's tomorrow. Then just click this to select them all, and then deselect the 2 that's for tomorrow because you don't want to delete those. And then just delete the rest.
Okay.
In this example up here, guys, this is the example that I was giving you all when I said I got rid of my icons and have words.
Yeah.
So that's why in this email, I don't think I did it in this email. Oh, no, I think I did. Oh, okay, I did it here too. So in this email, you see where it says refresh and more. Instead of it being that little arrow that turns for the refresh. In the dots, I've got it as words because sometimes for me, when I'm scanning, it's easier for me to just see what I wanted to see, right? I mark as red. I know that's mark as red. That's the snooze. That's to add it to a task. That's to move it to an inbox, label, more, whatever, right? And this will give you a drop down on some more things here that you can do. So I like to have it that way because it's easier for me to read than to figure out what an icon is, even though most of the icons, I know what they are. It's just easier when I'm reading because I obviously know words better than I know icons. So again, that's all personal preference. So it depends on how you want to actually utilize that.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So the email archiving that I just showed you guys, that would have been next on the slideshow, was the email archiving. And the unsubscribe that I showed y'all. Remember how I just went to the unsubscribe? Again, don't worry about if I went too fast. It's on the slides that I'm sending you. So that won't be an issue for you to be able to take a look at it. So when I click on this, you'll see I actually had the verbiage behind that right there, right? Type unsubscribe, locate on one of the emails, hover over the email, click the unsubscribe button. So I have it on that slide. So you guys didn't miss anything when I did it real time, because I do have it on here, right? Click the filter message, create a filter, check the box, select all the conversations, delete, click OK, right? And then I even don't forget to empty your emails in the trash category. So I do have these on the slide so that you can take a look at those on your own time and see whatever it is that you feel like you need to see that you may have missed in that information, if that's fair, right? So now looking at the multiple inboxes, that was where I was telling you that you can have the inboxes on the side, which is really important as you're building things out over here. So if you've got emails coming in from another email, remember I asked you guys, you got several accounts. If you've got more than one email account, then what do? You open up multiple inboxes by simply clicking on settings, clicking on see all settings, and going over here to inbox. And then look at that multiple inbox right here. And now you can set up your multiple inboxes for whatever those are from. So for me, with my multiple inboxes, I have it set up where I have folders that the emails go into, or they come from that particular email. So let's say you have an Outlook email in a Gmail account, right? If you have an Outlook in a Gmail account, then what you're doing is you're saying, let me go to my Outlook account and forward those emails to my Gmail account. You can still leave the original email in Outlook, but you want them to come to Gmail. Now they're coming to Gmail. Well, once they're coming to Gmail, you can come to multiple inboxes and say, if the email comes from this particular email address, which would be your Outlook address, you can now put here Outlook emails as the name, right? And now any email that comes from the other address, it's going to come into this folder that way. So for an example, because I can go and change this back later on, I would do that here, right? So instead of it saying label, it would say from, and then I would put Outlook emails if I had it coming from my Outlook account, and then that's what I will put here. Outlook emails. Now I've labeled that in there, right? Now, again, it wouldn't say label, it would say from, because these are folders here, but it would I will put from : Outlook emails, right? And excuse me, not Outlook emails, I'm sorry. I will put the email address like I have up here. I don't have an Outlook, so I can't use one. But this email address is another email address of mine. I will put my Outlook email address here, right? It would say from. I will put Outlook emails, the verbiage, Outlook emails in that box. Then I will come down here and I will click select changes. And then what will happen is over here on the right-hand side where my inbox is at, let me pull them up so you can see them all. These are my 5 inbox. You can have 5 of them. See what it says? Outlook emails now. And what would happen is every email that came in from Outlook would come to your inbox, but it would go into this separate inbox here for Outlook emails. And then once it goes over there, now you can click on it and open them up over here, if that makes any sense. So I would be able to, I would actually be able to go in here, click on this, and then my entire inbox would turn into that, if that makes any sense. Right? So these are my 5 inboxes that I have outside of my main inbox. And when you click on that inbox, like this, if I go over here to the numbers on the side, showing the messages, and click on it, it now turns that into my main inbox for the moment. So these are the 271 emails that were in that inbox, and that's all I'm looking at now is emails from that inbox. 271 emails. See how it's got the label up here? Because it's from that folder. If it was from another email like Outlook, it wouldn't say label Abel Miller. It would say from : Outlook, or it would say from : then my actual Outlook email address. That's how it would show. But because it's a label, not an email, it's showing that way. And then it shows it here. If I want to go back to my main inbox, I just click here and go back to my main inbox like this. You can create 5 of these on the right-hand side. And again, I'm going over this quickly, obviously, because of time. But when we're doing the full flat out, like a boot camp training, all of this stuff is going to be in a lot more detail because I've got 3 hours to go over everything. So we're going to be talking about the BAMing emails. We're going to be talking about the going through the Swift system in full, because it's all about really putting yourself in a position where you can run all of these systems together, right? The smart workflow inbox filtering technique, which is you going through those emails from the bottom up, but doing it in those folders, reply, meet with people, all of those different things in context, right? So, and that's what this is, showing you the system that you create for that, send and archive, auto advanced keyboard shortcuts, the ones that we went over, setting up your Gmail template so that you can have a template already in place, creating your Gmail signature so that you have a Gmail signature, and that Gmail signature will literally put you in a position to just click signature and it'll just drop down there, right? And then you can have everything automatically signed going out, and now you got that professional signature happening. BAMing your emails, which is the stacking and downstreaming. That is those replies where you've got, this is my downstream of emails. I've got all the emails I need to reply to, all the emails I need to read later, all the emails that I need to set an appointment for or confirm an appointment. Once you have that downstream system, you're going to number that however you need to number it so that it makes sense for you, right? So whatever cures your anxiety faster, do you need to reply to emails first, or do you need to set your meetings first? Whatever is more important to you. So if setting meetings are a priority to you, then that your first forward folder wouldn't be reply, it would be meeting. That's how that would work. So you want to make sure that you understand in total, when you're looking at creating a downstream, you're going to set that number set up in whatever is better for your anxiety. And then put the folders in, you're going to put the emails in those particular folders as you run through your emails. So if I get up in the morning and I've got 35 new emails, I'm going to click each one of those emails and throw them inside of a folder. Get my inbox down to 0. Now I've got no new emails in there. I'm at 0. All of those emails that I didn't look at, they're in those folders that I have on the left-hand side that are number 1 through 5 or 1 through 7, however many priorities you have there. And now on my calendar, I'm going to have 20 minutes go through my reply emails. If you have to reply to those emails, you do. If it's something that you can just say yes or no, whatever your situation is, it depends on what industry you're in, how that's going to all work for you. But you can do it in a systematic way instead of randomly just going through emails. So as always, choose a time, hit your email, pull up your block of emails, go to the bottom, work your way up through the emails, and either put them in a folder, set the appointment, reply to it, put it in whatever space it needs to go into so that they're gone from your inbox. Now they're in folders. Now you go to each individual folder based on when your calendar tells you should. And then now you hit each one of those folders individually, and you can do them all at one time if you want. You can set an hour out on your calendar and say, I'm going to reply to emails, set my appointments, and also read those documents later, right? So anything online, when you get, how many of you guys get distracted online? Like you're online, you're looking at something, you come across an article that you need to read, but you don't really necessarily want to read it right now, right? You shouldn't really be reading it right now, but a lot of times we do. We'll start to read it, and now here it is 10 minutes later, we've lost 10 minutes because we've done that. So put an 11 in the chat if you're the person that will be online looking at something and then start reading it and then get distracted from your day. That's the read later thing. That's why we have something for that. So as part of that boot camp, what we're going to be covering is using something like Web Clipper, which is if I pull up Chronotype and I'm reading something on it. Oh, not my site. Hold on. I'm sending y'all to my Chronotype site. Whiz. So if I just happen to come across something that I wanted to read, I could literally just clip it. So I can go up here, and this is a free service. I can go up here and I can click it. And what it does is it sends an email to me based on this actual clip, right? Sorry, my computer moving so slow. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. So when I clicked it, it pulls up this box. See what it says? Take the Chronotype quiz. It's got the source for the email, and it's got the stuff from the page. So when I click that web clipper over here, it opens up this dialog box, and then I just click Save to Gmail. See that? And now I've saved that article. It's emailed it. Now in my system, when the email comes in, it's going to go directly to my web clip. It's going to go right to my web clipper folder. So I have it set up where it does that, right? So that's why it says this conversation no longer exists, because I've archived it and it already went inside my web clipper. So that's what happens with the email. Now I can read it later. And that's how I use that system. So if I was in this email here, I think I got it where it's, I may have, let me see, read later. See that? It's 9:31. See where it went? It went inside my read later folder. So what happens is when I see something I want to read, I click it, boom, it emails it to me. It automatically filters and goes inside of a folder. Now, when I'm going to read article, if I say I'm gonna spend 30 minutes looking over some things that I saw throughout the day that I need to be abreast on, I can now just come to my read later folder and those articles are there. I can click on it and open it up. And now I can go ahead and read what I didn't read. And now I'm in my email and I don't have the distractions. And guess what else? I don't have the pop-ups selling me something. I don't have any of that. I'm only reading what I wanted to read. If I want to go back to that actual page that I read of that, I can go ahead and click this link and it'll pull me back over there. Does that make sense to everybody? So put a 12 in the chat. So again, that downstreaming system is really about you having a system set up automatically that allows you to put everything where it needs to go. I need to read it. I need to respond to it. I need to set an appointment. Whatever it is you need to do with it, that's what you're doing with it. And that's how that will work for you. Once you understand that system, now you'll save so much more time when you're emailing, because you've got the Swift system, you're bamming your emails with the stacking and downstreaming system. All of that's working. You're using your multiple email tabs, which means I open up 4 tabs at once and reply to 4 different emails and 4 different tabs during my reply time on my calendar so that I'm doing it. I'm now scheduling time on my calendar so I can do my ESD, which is my intentionally calendaring email time. And I'm looking on my calendar and I'm saying 8 o'clock in the morning, from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, all I'm dealing with is email. And then at 12 from 12:15, I'm dealing with email. Then at 7 from 7 to 7:15, I'm dealing with nothing but email. And now I've dedicated 90 minutes a day to nothing but email if my email is that important. Everybody's email is not that important. Everything I do is through email. So for me, it is that important. So that's how that will work. So here's the boot camp. We're going to close out with this. Here's the boot camp that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing the boot camp on a Saturday. So I know obviously if you're a 7-day Adventist or something like that, you won't be able to join us. I know that there's some religious Saturday people who just do not work on Saturdays, even if they're not 7-day Adventists. You can't work with us on that day. I get it, but I needed to do a Saturday because it's 3 hours. So the way it works is this. On the boot camp, it's going to be hands-on, interactive tutorial design to transform your approach to email management. When you come out that 3-hour boot camp, your system will be set up, meaning that you'll have your labeled folders, you'll have numbers on the side of each one of those folders so that you've created your downstream system. You'll actually have your filters set up so you'll know how, so when your emails are coming in, you'll know what folder they're going into, which will do part of the work for you. You'll know how to send the emails, right? Or on a schedule. Those are all things that we're going to be doing so that your actual full laid out workflow system, productivity and workflow system is in place. That's really what you want. You want that system to be in place. So that's what we're doing with the boot camp. You see 3 price points here, because if it's just you, it's $69 for the 3-hour boot camp for you as an individual. If you've got 3 people with you, meaning that you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I've got a team, I've got a group of people. Some of these, you may be a solopreneur and you've got a couple of people who work for you like me. I'm a solopreneur, but I've got about 3 people who work for me, right? So maybe you want your team to understand that. I've got some companies I work with that's got between 10 and 30 employees, and they may want to have some of their employees with them, right? Maybe the people who do administrative things for them. So if it's that group of 3, then it's $147, and that covers the 3 people, which knocks that price down to $49 a piece. If you're somebody that you just got two other friends that's on here, and you're like, hey, I don't want to pay $69, so how about the 3 of us do it? All 3 of us do it, and then we pay the $147. But here's the thing: one person has to pay that. 3 people can't pay $49 a piece because I don't know that you're in a group. Does that make sense? So what needs to happen is, I'll pick a name. Who do I see here? Let's take Rosalind, because I see your name, Rosalind, here in the chat. So if Rosalind is going to group up with 2 other people, then Rosalind or somebody in that group needs to pay the $147. And then when you pay the $147, an email comes to you that says, give us the first name, last name, and email of the other 2 people in your group so that we can get them registered. Because everybody's going to have a unique registration. Because what happens in my paid trainings is people will try to invite people, and then I'm looking rude, because when you invite somebody to a training that didn't pay, then I got to put them off the training. And some of you have, I don't know if any of you have, because there's only 25 people in here, but some of you may have been on a training where I had to put somebody off. Like, that's rude, and it just looks unprofessional. But people will pay, give a link to a friend, and now they're friends on a free training, which is just disrespectful to the whole system, right? So even though one person pays $147, you're going to get an email that says, give us the name and first name, last name, email of your other 2 people in your group. We will get them registered, and then they will get an email with a unique sign-in for the 25th of May, which is going to be 11 in the morning, Eastern time. So if you're on the West Coast or anywhere that's 3 hours behind, it's 8 o'clock in the morning for you. So I did it at 11 so that I wouldn't be starting at 8 on the East Coast, and it's 5 o'clock for the West Coast people. So it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning for the West Coast people, 11 o'clock a.m., which is early afternoon for the people in the East Coast. So you guys can figure out the time zones in between. So that's what the group rate is. The team boost is if you've got 5 people. So if it's 5 people in the group, it's $195, and that covers all 5 people in that group. So if you got a group of 5, if you got some assistants that work with you, if you got some employees, whatever you got going on in your world, if it's you and 4 other people, it's $195, which knocks the price down a little bit more, knocks it down to $39 a person. So if it's just you attending, it's $69. If it's a group of 3, it knocks your price down to $49 a person. If it's a group of 5, it knocks your price down to $39 a person to join the group. Again, you'll get the full slide deck. You'll get the video when it's all done, and all of those things as well. If you need to call me or contact me after the boot camp, within the first 30 days, not forever, but within the first 30 days after the boot camp is over with. So that's from May 25th, right, to June 24th. You'll be able to reach out to me if there's something about the system that you don't understand that you need to maybe fix in your particular system. You got the folders done wrong, or your filtering is not working correctly. It may be something that you just don't get. Reach out to me. We'll do a Zoom, and we'll get that knocked out. That's how that would work. So it's going to be hands-on learning. It's going to be advanced techniques, right? The BAM Swift system is going to be exclusive content that wasn't in this training right here. So there's some things that I put a slide up there for, but you obviously see I didn't go into in detail because obviously it wasn't enough time. Plus the boot camp gives me time to go over it in a calmer manner where I don't have to speed through it and you can actually get it and ask more questions. We're going to be hitting the inbox 0 and beyond, which means showing you how to literally get it down to 0. Like I showed y'all, I talked about the techniques, but I didn't go through the full process because, again, this was supposed to be an hour training that turned into 90 minutes. Then you've got automation, templates, signatures, stacking, and scheduling. And then obviously it'll give you a chance to network with some other people who may be in a boot camp that you might not know. Y'all may be able to connect. I do a lot of connecting with my coaching clients. I've got several coaching clients that I connect because I know them, but they don't know each other. And now they're working together and doing a completely different project that has nothing to do with me. So you have that opportunity to do that as well when you're in a boot camp like that. Here's the 3 scan codes for those three prices. So if you're interested in doing the $69 because it's just you're just going to scan that single code over there. It'll open right up into the offer and you can go ahead and make your payment for it. And then you'll get the email right away telling you what to prepare for. And then you're going to get some more emails along the way. Obviously, for the people who took this complimentary training tonight, you probably got you got emails inviting you. And then after you got registered, you got more emails. That's typically the way it works with me because I want you to be prepared. I want you to remember to get on. I want all those things to be kind of the front of your mind. So that's your scan code for your 69 for your individual. If it's going to be you and 2 other people, then you're going to do it and go ahead and do the scan for the 147. Just make sure you respond to the email letting me know who the other 2 people are because I'll have your information once you pay. So I just need the information for the other 2 people. You get me that. Once you get me that, then we'll get them registered and then they'll get an email with all their registration information. Same thing for the 195 for the 5. You scan that code, same thing there.